Sharp to you at 9 o'clock on this Monday morning. So Matric learners have a challenging yet exciting few weeks ahead of them, and going into it with the right frame of mind and clear-cut strategy can mean the difference between an average performance and an exceptional one. For some learners, the culmination of 12 years of hard work can be overwhelming and also can bring about a period of anxiety. To highlight this issue, we are joined in studio by Kamini Naidoo. She's a senior head of program at the Faculty of Humanities at the Independent Institute of Education. Good to have you, Kamini. Thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
You know, I can remember writing Matric yesterday, and it was anything but yesterday. It was a long time ago. But I remember the feelings of anxiety and, like we say, excitement, but the nervousness, because so much rests on this. Let's talk about that, you know, the feelings that Matrics may be going through now.
Well, I mean, today marks the end, almost the end of a 12-year journey where students have worked really hard and they're almost there. So, you know, with this milestone, it's also, you know, normal for them to experience high levels of anxiety.
Yeah.
But what's also important is for them to realize that they are in charge of drawing up their own roadmap to navigate through this journey.
Yeah, and that's what's, I suppose, the important part. You can draw up your own map, but you also have to put in the very hard work. But I suppose a lot may have left it right to the end, and that's where the panic starts setting in. But I mean, you know, in many cases of learners, I suppose this should be a strategically managed process, but as, you know, a lot of people find themselves, it isn't necessarily. So what are the advice that you give to some of learners at this point in time?
Well, one of the important things is to stay organized. So take account of the weekends that you still have, the time between your papers, and make the best of that time. But it is also important to stay refreshed, so to take your breaks, your 5-minute or 10-minute breaks, and also to zoom into those areas that you are not 100% comfortable with.
Yeah.
So those areas where you feel you still need to go through past your papers. So that's important. And don't think about the papers that you've already written. Let's move forward. And that's important.
I think that is important, because sometimes you beat yourself up on the fact that, oh, I didn't do well, that was bad, I could have done better. Don't worry about that. You almost have to put that behind you and look forward. So a lot of Matrics are not necessarily starting today. There's a lot of practical exams that may be happening, but there's still time. To divide your time up, I mean, what should you be looking at? Because I know when I was in school, I'd always jump onto the subjects that I found easier, and you kind of want to do that. You want to be better. And the ones that I found more difficult, I would kind of like ignore them. But that actually should be the reverse. You should be focusing on the difficult ones.
Yes, and the trick is to go through past your papers.
Okay.
Because when you go through past your papers, you actually find out where your shortcomings lie. And those are the areas that you need to focus on, whether it's through summarizing your work or making mind maps or drawing pictures. And those are the areas that are important. And you learn about those areas you're not comfortable with. I think going through past your papers and organizing both your mind, your study space, that's
a good thing. So going through past papers, also dividing up your time right now. How should you plan your day? Because that's always a nice bit of information, that you sort of wake up today and let's start planning. What do we do? Do you mix up studying? Do you concentrate on one subject at a time? I think that must be quite difficult for Matrics when you've got to get through quite a bit. But how would you advise that you divide up your time and plan your way going forward in your studies?
Well, most importantly is to have your exam timetable.
Okay.
So you know when you're writing and you calculate your days between that. But if we had to think about from the morning, stay healthy. It is important to stay healthy, to have your breakfast, to exercise, and draw up your own timetable for the day. You know, no one says that you should not have your 10 minutes of TV or your half an hour of TV, but to draw up little awards for yourself. I'm going to finish this paper and then I'm going to have a break. But dividing your time depends on you and how you study, and you've got to find what works for you.
Yeah, and that's all important, as we're all very different. We handle things differently, so don't necessarily sort of focus on how your friend is studying.
Yes.
See what's best for you. A study partner, study groups,
Well, in the era that we live in, and with social media, so, you know, being very active, you could start the odd WhatsApp group with your friends, share ideas, share concepts. Your friend could have a better understanding of a concept that you're struggling with. So why not share that through social media?
Yeah.
And now we could have the virtual study group, not going to the library and, you know, having your actual face-to-face study groups. So that is really important.
Yeah.
And the sharing of ideas. We tend to learn a lot by re-explaining things. So if I had to explain it to you, it may then have, I create a further understanding for myself.
Yeah, it's very, very true. And then just finally, also family and friends around you, you know, they add that support that I don't think you could put a price to, because it's a difficult time for everyone.
Yes.
But if you have the support, so if you had to give some advice to family at this time, that they're watching their kids or whoever writing exams, how can they help?
I think is to allow them to study, you know, give them that time, but to also say, I believe in you. Because those are words that, you know, being in Matric, you want to hear, that someone believes in you.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think South Africa as a whole, we believe in our Matrics.
well, good luck to them. Thank you for the bit of advice that you have given them at this stage. It's a crucial part in many Matric's lives at this point. It's, you know, it's crazy. You sort of go through your whole schooling career and then suddenly you're confronted by this one exam that you feel everything rests on. Well, it's not all doom and gloom. Believe me, go out there, do your best. The hard work does pay off. And good luck to every single one of you. Thanks so much for your advice. I think a lot, really appreciating that. Kamini Naidoo is a senior head of program at the Faculty of Humanities at the Independent Institute of Education. Let's take a break. And after this,